Welcome to the Authority File, the podcast where you'll hear conversations with academic librarians, technologists, researchers, and authors whose work is laying the foundation for higher education's future. I'm Bill Mickey, your host and the editorial director at Choice. In this four-part series, we're going to get an inside peek at a publishing operation tasked with distributing arguably some of the most important research, data, and reports available. I'll be speaking with some of the team behind UN Publications, the publishing and distribution unit of the United Nations. UN Publications curates the UN system's global research provided by dozens of UN agencies, funds, programs, and departments. These reports are made available through UN Publications' iLibrary platform, and we'll get a look under the hood to see how the metadata, structured taxonomies, and subject tagging work to surface this vast array of content. We'll also hear about UN Publications' global publishing partnerships, including the SDG Publishers Compact, the SDG Book Club, and how academic libraries can join the UN's network of partners to align themselves more closely to the Sustainable Development Goals. Joining me for this series, which is brought to you with support from UN Publications, are Mary Glenn, Chief of UN Publications, Shalou Thomas-Cherian, Senior Program Manager, Stephen McGroarty, Editorial Manager, and Antje Waterman, who is the Marketing Manager. Throughout the series, each of our guests will provide an inside track on UN Publications' operation, products, and partnerships. In this second episode of our four-part series, we dig into the technical aspects of how the reports that are produced by the UN's agencies are curated and optimized for accessibility, discovery, and distribution. Okay, Shalou, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Bill.
All right. So, like we're doing with your colleagues, can you just introduce yourself real quick and talk a little bit about your role at UN Publications?
Absolutely. Well, I want to start off by thanking you, Bill, for having me. It
Sure.
is a pleasure to be speaking to you about our work. So I joined the UN at a young age, intending to be part of an organization focused on humanitarianism. Now, I know that sounds a bit cliche, but I enjoy helping others and seeing the joy it brings them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with my degree in computer science, I had the opportunity to join the UN and apply my skills in different departments within the organization. I worked in their protocol office, which is the office that works directly with the missions of the member states, the Office of Internal Oversight, which is investigating the misconduct and abuse within the UN and the field offices, to the current department, Department of Global Communications, concentrating on the dissemination of the UN story. Now, I tell people who are not familiar with the UN that each department almost feels like a different company. The only thing that doesn't change is the name of your employer. This experience has really opened my eyes to the challenge of this international organization, how each office works independently on their mandate, but governed by one body to execute its purpose for the world. Now, my role in the UN publication section is the IT project manager for the section. I also manage the UNI library team. I maintain their internal systems like the title management system, the external platforms like the e-commerce website, shop, and the UNI library, and the dissemination of our digital content to e-tailers. I ensure that each one of these managed platforms meet the needs of each of our target audience, which means that we tailor which titles we send to each platform. We recently upgraded our e-commerce website to better serve our users to easily find and purchase our individual multilingual sales publications and UN merchandise, as opposed to the UNI library platform, where our users are mainly focused on accessing and researching digital content on different topics in one area, and also probably having the ability to cite, share, and even print this content. So today I'm basically going to focus on the UNI library platform. Our main goal for the UNI library is to make it a comprehensive research and discovery portal that is easily accessible for users worldwide. We wanted to represent the UN's perspective on the current events, the actions taken or to be taken, and reporting on issues that impact the world. One of our other goals is identifying enhancements to be more impactful for our users, So, one of the ways that we capture this is through feedback from surveys, attending conferences and book fairs, and researching and learning from similar platforms.
Excellent. Yeah, so I imagine, I'm wondering if you can kind of sort of isolate the iLibrary platform and sort of differentiate that from, some of the other things, other platforms that are available. Can you do that for us a little bit?
Absolutely. Uh, Once we acquire these publications and they're approved and processed internally, it's made available on the iLibrary platform with enhanced metadata and chapterization of our content, of our assets, which are the digital files. The enhancement is done in-house by our staff internally, as well as another service provider that we work with to make this content more rich.
Hmm.
We have close to about 60 author departments. Half of them encompass the UN departments. Examples of that would be the Department of Economic and Social Affairs or Office of Legal Affairs. And the other half would be about that would be the UN agencies, which many are familiar with, probably UNICEF and UNDP. So we work closely with these author departments to curate this unique collection of UN content. It encompasses the four main pillars of the UN, which is peace and security, human rights, the rule of law, and development. Each author department focuses on a specific area and formulates a plan of action and responsibility. Many of these publications from these author departments are multilingual, which means one of two things: that the single publication file could contain two or more of our six official UN languages, along with other language translations, or a single publication could be translated in other languages. The six official UN languages are English, French, Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. And examples of other translations would be most recently added Serbian and Italian. An example of one where I would say that we would tie them together, the language translations being tied together, would be our recent annual report of the UN that was uploaded to the iLibrary platform during the General Assembly, where we had the official report translated in six separate languages, and they're all hyperlinked together on this product page. We have also partnered with several discovery channels that receive automated feeds of our title metadata, including EBSCO, OCLC, and soon to come Ex Libris. This allows our content to be more discoverable through other outlets in the academic world.
Hmm. Excellent. Okay. Um, that's quite a lot. I mean, I imagine there's an awful lot of metadata, as you mentioned, to deal with. Can you talk about how you structure your taxonomies within iLibrary?
Yes, now this might be probably the most boring part of the conversation, but the
No
most
way.
yes, but it is the most impactful part of our workflow. Because the curation and publishing of the content we receive is a time consuming and challenging undertaking. However, with the diligent team of the iLibrary and the collaboration with our other departments, we're able to publish over 600 titles every year. Now, each department has a different workflow and timeline to create and publish their content. So it requires regular communications to capture this information in a timely manner. We identify their sales publications by proactively following up on annual reports that we're familiar with, reviewing departmental communications on upcoming releases, and researching their websites for the latest and updated content. We also follow this same process to obtain working papers, which are draft documents created by researchers and analysts from these different author departments on topics varying from COVID to climate change to gender equality. Then we go on to obtain the final asset version of each publication, which is the final digital file of each publication. And we assign unique identifiers like ISBNs, sales numbers, and DOI. Now, a DOI is the digital object identifier that is assigned to all content at the book and chapter level. It gives them a permanent home where you can cite the content and we can continue tracking it. So to manage and maintain all this information, we catalog it in in our title management system. This allows us to then send the metadata to different platforms with their required specifications. The iLibrary team will compile a package of about 50 titles with the final assets or files that are chapterized along with the title metadata and sent to the platform for activation. In the interest of time, I've actually simplified this workflow, but you can imagine there's a lot of back and forth with the author departments and internal meetings we hold to finalize the title metadata and when to process the delivery of each package. So, with this said, to make our multilingual content more searchable and discoverable, we've created controlled lists called taxonomies. Now, taxonomy is a system of classifications. So we've created a taxonomy with for the following categories like countries and regions, bisects, keywords, subjects, and most importantly, the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. Uh, we try to tag about 3 values per category, with the most relevant being the first one in each publication. We also classify reoccurring publications under a series name that gets a unique identifier as well, like an ISSN and a DOI. An example of this would be the Yearbook of the United Nations, where a new edition comes out by our department, the Department of Global Communications. And in order to keep all these editions together, we've tagged it under the series name Yearbook of the United Nations. So these taxonomies allow the content to be easily ingested and discovered using the menu options in the hamburger and the search refinement filters on the iLibrary. Now, I know this is a lot of information to take in, but I'm sure other publishers are also facing the same issues and similar workflows.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I would 100% agree with that. Just a quick follow. So, with all of the work that gets put into sort of identifying and tagging the content, about how long does it take for sort of the ingestion, I guess, of the various agency publications into the iLibrary system?
So the acquiring part is usually the undeterminable factor here because it depends on how quick we can get this information from our author departments.
Yeah.
However, once we've acquired all this information and it's been cleaned up, we batch it and we make it live within less than 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. That's quick.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So then, we've talked about some of the audience segments in the previous episode. Do do specific audience segments influence how you organize your content?
Yes, our audience is a very valuable part of our workflow because we're able to gather insight from our customers. And we know that many of them are students or scholars, policymakers, practitioners, development practitioners, and librarians who are interested in research material. They need to be able to get to a granular level of our content,
Mm.
which is the chapterized content that we upload. The platform is a useful research and discovery tool on a large collection of diverse UN topics, ranging anywhere from climate change to SDG goals to energy statistics, which we find to be very valuable on our platform. It has a flexible design that allows our users to drill down their search results from different entry points throughout the sites, from the quick search to advanced search, to even from the product page going to another search facet. We've been able to develop an advanced search feature which has search facets that allow our users to filter down their search results to a granular level on their desired topic. These filters include anything from authors to subjects to publication date range, which allows you to put in a start and end date and capture all those publications, and many other filters. This allows the users to see the content from the whole UN ecosystem in one place versus having to go to each individual author department's website and trying to navigate using their different interfaces. One example of the search feature would be allowing the user to find content from a particular author department by just clicking UNICEF from the list of authors, or finding content tagged by subject like children and youth. By selecting it, you would find a diverse collection from different author departments on that subject. The benefit of all of this is that the content's available on one site. The content is further divided into 4 main content types, which are books, which then get further categorized under official series collections or monographs, journals, working papers, and data sets, and they can all be easily accessible from the site menu. The site menu also offers the user the ability to access a collection of titles based on subjects, SDGs, and collections. Now, collections, we create collections that are a tailored list of our content based on a UN topic, like peacekeeping, or a trending event, like the UN General Assembly. During the assembly, there was a climate summit, so we created a climate change collection, or an upcoming conference, like the UN Water Conference that took place earlier this year. Now, our most recent enhancements on the site include a cleaner and refreshed design of the homepage, faster page loads, an optimized search functionality, a simpler drop down menu, an upgraded reader, and most importantly, an interface that allows the 6 UN official languages as a translation for each page. We continue to reach out to our customers to learn and implement attractive features on our platform. So we also look into acquiring software to automate these workflows to make sure that we can seamlessly get this content available online quicker.
Fantastic. So yeah, you mentioned the SDGs, and I imagine those have been like a pretty important way to organize the content. And I'm wondering if you could give us a quick backgrounder on how the SDGs kind of influence that organization on the platform.
Absolutely. The UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or otherwise known as SDGs, have been a major part of our categorization feature for the iLibrary. The iLibrary was created in 2016. And if we recall, in 2015, the group got together to establish and adopt this mandate. So it's been a major part of our organization. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's the UN's main objective to end poverty, protect the planet, and improve the lives and prospects of everyone everywhere. As I mentioned before, the objective was formally adopted by all member states. That's 193 countries who actually govern the UN in 2015. And so we as international civil servants will continue to be the driving force to act on, promote, and educate everyone about these goals. The iLibrary platform allows our users to access and filter to specific SDG tagged content so they can learn more about and find ways to implement it within their specific areas. We have seen a growing interest around the world in implementing and promoting their initiatives using the SDGs, from tech companies to the clothing industry, banking industry, and many more. I think everyone has recognized that it'll take everyone in every field to achieve this ambitious goal. Uh, but we will all reap the benefits by 2030. In our platform, we have a rich database of each publication tagged with up to 3 SDGs based on relevancy. To see this richness, you can actually filter your search to one goal, for example, life below water. And one would assume all the titles will be related to ocean and sea creatures. However, you will see titles like plastic in cosmetics, how the plastic that we use become toxic to the marine life, or review of maritime transport, a report that comes out annually discussing trade and shipping via sea. Everything from international law to trade to climate to health, we see how it all impacts the life below water. You can also see how a publication with 3 goals are interconnected with each other to tackle or address one issue. For example, Economic Report on Africa in 2021. It showed how COVID had not only impacted the lives of the people in Africa, but the poverty and the economic growth in Africa. So I'd like to end off by saying information leads to formation, which leads to transformation. This is something I recently heard in a speech. The way that I would probably put that into perspective for ours is that the content that we receive, the information we receive, we get and we form it into a structured content in our title management system, which is in turn transformed into searchable pieces of UN content on any platform. So that being the UNI library. So I just hope that these tools are beneficial to our target audience.
Excellent. I'm sure they are. So thank you very much, Shilu. That was great.
Thank you, Bill.
You just heard from Chalu Thomas-Cherian, Senior Program Manager of UN Publications. This series is brought to you with support from UN Publications. Join us next week when we learn more about the iLibrary platform, where UN Publications makes its various reports and other documents available. As always, underwriting of opportunities for the Authority File podcast are directed by Choice's advertising manager, Pam Marino, and all of our episodes are produced and edited by Choice's digital media producer, Sabrina Kofer, with support from digital media assistant Ashley Roy. That's all for this week. Thanks for joining us.